People don't care what you know until they know you care. Took a bet, like a lot of people have, that the growth of soccer in this country was going to continue to build and build, and it has. Would I ever buy a franchise?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Gameplan, a podcast where we're going to be meeting athletes, business owners, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders. I'm Kaio Philipe, and I'm going to be your host. What is your game plan? Welcome everyone to Gameplan. I'm here today with Jarrod Dillon. He's been to the MLS, which is right now, the MLB, NFL, NHL, and he's creating Orlando as the capital of soccer in America. Welcome to Gameplan, Jarrod. Very glad to be here with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You probably sold $1 billion in ticket sales to date. You become not the Wolf of Wall Street, but the Wolf of Orlando now. But what do you think applies? What's the sales truth that applies for every sports league out there in America?
Well, I think the sales truth that applies, if you are a salesperson, I truly believe this, and it's something I tell our staff all the time, and it goes beyond ticket sales or sales in general. Sales to me is about connecting with people.
Yep.
It really is. And there's an old saying that people don't care what you know until they know you care. And I remember hearing that one day, and I really took it to heart. And what does that mean? If you're going to be a professional salesperson, it can't be transactional. It can't be, let me get you on the phone. I just called you out of the blue, or I text you, and I'm going to try to get you to give me your credit card on the phone to make a sale right there. That doesn't work. That didn't work back in my day. It's 20-something years ago, let alone now in this day and age. You're going to give your credit card over the phone to somebody who just called you because they claim to be with Orlando City or Orlando Pride? No. It's about connecting with people. It's about having a conversation. Kyle, I saw that you, from our records, you came out to Orlando City, Orlando Pride soccer match last weekend. My name is Jarrod Dillon. I'm going to be your personal ticket sales, your personal ticket concierge, anything you need here. Tell me about your experience. What brought you out? Start a conversation.
Right.
What was your favorite memory from the game? Oh, you brought your kids? That's great. What do you think they're going to remember about the game? And you go into that, you make it personal.
Right.
You connect with people, because all I want to do is establish a connection. And if the conversation goes well and you seem legitimately interested, I might then invite you down. I don't want to do that over the phone. I want to invite you down to InterTV Stadium with your family, with your business partner, to come take a look around the stadium with me. That, to me, is what a professional salesperson does.
And it's compounding, right? Because you're building, the team has what? Like the Orlando City has 10 years, 12 years now, 13 years old.
The team came here in 2012 from
as a very
Austin.
small team, downtown Orlando,
and it went to MLS in 2015.
Right.
And then the Pride started a year later in 2016.
So that takes a lot of compounding, a lot of people to convince to come back, to return, to fill an arena of 25,000 people every weekend, which we are doing that. But why specifically you choose to work with soccer? And when you compare to Brazil or Europe or the biggest clubs on earth, right, Real Madrid, and
hundreds of years.
They have hundreds of, you have 100 years old, 150 years old clubs, and here you have franchise they're just starting. Like you have Vegas, San Diego now, right? Like just last year.
First year.
How does someone look at that and think, I'm going to be a visionary?
Yeah. I've tried to follow advice from, one of my greatest mentors in this industry, a gentleman by the name of Tom Garfinkel. He's the CEO of Hard Rock Stadium and the Miami Dolphins and F1 Miami, and he oversees all that, working for Mr. Ross. Tom gave me great advice early in my career in San Diego when I worked for him on never take a job because of geography or title or compensation. Try always to focus your career decisions on where can you go to work with great people that are going to have your back and help you develop as an individual, help you develop as a professional. And then secondly, where can you go where you can raise the bar?
Right.
And I think when I go back to where I was in my mind maybe 4 years ago, the Lightning certainly, was at like the peak, right? And they were doing incredibly well. Not to say you couldn't go any higher or maintain that, but I felt like it was almost like a new challenge,
Right.
you know, that I was ready for that. And when I had the opportunity to meet the Wilfs and what their vision was for soccer in Orlando and why, and for me, it really came down to looking at the sport. Where did I think the sport in the United States was going? Think about where we were 4 years ago, you know, to where we are today. And we come into this summer right now, FIFA Club World Cup just finished up. We had 2 matches here in Inter and Co Stadium, a couple matches at Camping World. Orlando, the only city in the United States to have 2 venues.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Next summer, when men's country World Cup comes, and then 2031 now on the horizon, women's World Cup.
Yep.
That is why I took a gamble. I took a bet, like a lot of people have, that the growth of soccer in this country was going to continue to build and build, and it has. And Major League Soccer, the National Women's Soccer League, both of them have done an incredible job, in my opinion, of building their brands and continuing to grow. You see that with the expansion teams. You see that with the expansion rights that owners are paying.
Mm-hmm.
You see that with the caliber of owners that are coming into both of these leagues. Star-studded, incredible owners that also own NBA teams and NFL teams. And that is why, on a business side, I saw I wanted to do this. Soccer in the United States, at least, tends to be very young, very diverse fan base, very tech-forward. That excited me. Talking to corporate partners like you on who are the fans that you want to reach, those are demographics that most marketers want to reach. And, you know, when you look at us having both a men and a women's team, to be able to do that year round, in my opinion, the best soccer specific stadium, Inter and Co Stadium in the country,
Agree.
Was an amazing opportunity from a business standpoint.
Would you buy a club? Would you buy a franchise?
Would I ever buy a franchise? Yeah. Absolutely.
Who do you think is going to be the next one to thrive or to come to the MLS? If you would bet like a state or a city, who do you think still have a shot to be part of the
That's
of the
interesting.
league?
It's interesting.
Just a bet, right?
Don't
Just a
hear,
guess.
I don't know. There's like, this is what I can tell you.
America is a huge
There's
country,
a
right?
lot of cities that would love a professional women's or men's or both soccer club. A lot. Seeing this the last couple of years, San Diego coming in.
Maybe Vegas.
Prior to that, you know,
maybe Vegas. When they say that Vegas is probably
2 new teams, Boston and Denver, coming in the National Women's Soccer League next year. San Francisco Bay Area Bay FC was added last year. I mean, there's not a shortage right now. And I think soccer right now, the franchise values are reasonable enough as an owner to be able to get in. You know, you start looking at those franchise values of NFL teams, NBA teams. Those teams don't trade over very often, right?
Close to $10 billion, I think the last one. But it's still
maybe you and I will look at that together.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Go in on a team.
Raise cash.
My career has been a journey. It's taken me all over the country. My family and I, obviously, together. But, you know, we've moved from the San Francisco Bay Area to San Diego to Tampa, Tampa to Orlando now. So we've been in Florida, Central Florida, between Tampa and Orlando for 10 years now.
All right.
Joined the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2015. That might have been the biggest leap of my career, going from sunny San Diego in baseball with the Padres to, hey, how do you feel about selling and marketing ice hockey in Florida? So once we got through that move, I felt like, you know, we could probably go anywhere. But, you know, specifically to Orlando, the opportunity towards the end of 2021 was presented when the Wilfs had already bought the club and the stadium, and they were looking for a president of business operations. And I had the good fortune to be introduced to the Wilfs, and I knew who they were in terms of, I knew their long tenured ownership with the Minnesota Vikings. And, you know, I did some research about them and talked to a lot of my friends in the NFL, and time again, just can't find better people to work for. Great people, very philanthropic. And that's what I came to learn on my own. So whenever people ask me like, hey, why did you leave at the height of heights with the Tampa Bay Lightning to start something new? I think it was really 3 reasons. One, the Wilfs really convinced me that these were people that I believed in their values as a family, as business owners, and I wanted to be a part of what they were hoping to build in Orlando. Number 2, the sport of soccer. I had never worked in soccer yet at that point in my career, although I was a very good 8 to 10U coach on the youth side. I'm joking. My daughters had to suffer through me coaching them for 7 years in youth soccer in Tampa.
Wow.
And so it's a sport that my family loved. And then for me also being a father of 3 daughters.
Yep.
For us to have the Orlando Pride and have both a men and women's team, it was really a calling, I felt like, for me to come and do this. So,
but let's be real here. You built a 240 game sellout streak with the Tampa Light. So basically, you've been the highest sales executive in the league, right?
well, we had a good run in Tampa, and those guys and gals have continued that run, and I think they ended up getting over 300s on
300
sellout streaks.
300s.
Yes.
Direct.
It continued after I left. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And why do you think that's why do you think that was happening? And I mean, Tampa is
Yeah.
not that boring, right? You have a lot
Yeah.
of things to do in Tampa.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
How many people in an arena there?
Oh gosh, a little over 20,000,
Like
roughly. Yeah.
Here we have like 25,000.
Yeah.
So, but you were selling out like
Oh, it was
nonstop.
5 or 6 years straight. I think Tampa and everybody there, starting with the owner, Jeff Finnick, the CEO, Steve Griggs, and a lot of the executive team that I was a part of there, worked really hard at engaging the fans and
Right.
creating an incredible fan experience. When you walked into that arena, whether it was the Tesla coils for the lightning, that literally made lightning in the building, it was the music, it was all the little touches they did. A gentleman by the name of John Franzone is the man behind the scenes there that does all the in-game entertainment. It's very engaging. And so I think people appreciated, they always felt, win or lose, that they were getting great entertainment value. And that was the thing we really focused on.
When you say entertainment, I think about NBA, right?
Yeah.
I think about the whole game scene and the whole people going there for a date.
Yep.
Why you say entertainment in Tampa? Why do you think it's entertaining?
And I think it's different between sports and different in culture as well. That's one of the great things that I've learned about soccer. In kind of traditional, maybe stick and ball sports in the United States, and I've worked on a lot of them, whether it's baseball or hockey. You mentioned basketball. There's a lot of call and response.
You haven't done NBA, right?
I have not
yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have not worked in the NBA, and you know, I'm hoping to be here until I retire. So I don't think I will. But you know, those leagues, there's a lot of traditional call and response.
Right.
You throw something up on the video board, the fans say something back, or there's some sort of fun gimmick or something fun going on the video board that gets people's attention. In soccer, you don't need to do that, right? You're putting up certain things, your supporters, the songs, the chants are carrying the crowd for 90 minutes. That passion really comes out. It's very different. But I think that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning did really well, was they were able to galvanize. You know, they were one of the first teams in Tampa to win a championship, and then they did it back to back. And it really turned that town into, everybody loves a winner, right? And everybody came out, and that was coming through. It was during and then coming out of COVID. And so people were looking for something to really rally around. It's not too dissimilar to what we experienced last year. And you were here with me with the Orlando Pride winning the first championship, first major league championship in the history of Orlando.
Yeah,
I mean, the downtown parade, the city hall event, it was amazing. Every city loves a winner, right? And there's nothing better, you know, maybe for your brand than to be able to bring a community together like that.
And that's very interesting, because it seems easy, right, to sell tickets with a winning team.
Yeah, just go win.
Right. Yeah, I felt that.
It's a lot harder. Yeah, it's exactly.
How did it happen for you when you start winning? You start selling tickets in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And what happened? I know you played, right, in the past as well. But what happened that you decided to become a sales executive, and you were doing that fantastic? And I'll say one thing, because I think that's worth. I was with somebody in the industry the other day, and they were like, Jarrod Dillon is the #1 ticket sales executive in the league, in MLS, if not in all sports in the US. So that's really interesting. So when did it start for you?
Well, in terms of my journey and why I got into the sports business as a whole, I was fortunate to play college football at the University of Oregon. And I did not have plans to work in sports. I thought I was going to be, I love working with young people and coaching, as I was describing with my daughters. I thought I was going to be a high school teacher and coach. And I went to college with that focus, studied English and history, two of my favorite subjects, because I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to teach when I'm a coach. And University of Oregon has a great sports marketing program, the Warsaw program. I didn't even know about it. Embarrassed to say that, but when I went to school there, I had no idea.
Where you were in Oregon? In Portland, or?
No, I was in Eugene at the University of Oregon. Yeah. And through my time playing football for the Ducks, we had a great relationship with Nike. Obviously, And we had great relationships as a university with the Portland Trail Blazers and the minor league baseball team in town. And I started going to some classes. I started speaking to the sports marketing professors and learning, wow, you can work in sports and you don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be an agent. You can actually work in, and I don't have to be a scout. I can be on the business side.
That was what, the 80s?
80s. Come on, don't make me sound that old. This was
The
in
90s?
almost 2000. Yes, the late 90s. I graduated from University of Oregon around 2000.
That makes us think, right? I mean, the 80s. The 80s, like, it wasn't 30 years ago. It was like 20 years ago. It was like 40 years ago, right?
As a young person, that's what got me going, because I love sports. Why do I love sports? I love the competitive nature of sports. I love the camaraderie of sports. You can have that in the front office the same way as you can have on the field, just a little different. And that's what got me going on that path.
But the reason why I said the 80s is because I know you grew up in the 80s, right? So I was thinking, when you were there, like you were watching those players, you have your idols, right?
Yeah.
So you never wanted to be
absolutely.
like Jordan or who do you want to be? Like, when you were like, who were you looking after? Like at Hollywood Star?
Who did I want to be? Oh, I wanted to
Warren Buffett.
I wanted to be Brent Jones,
okay,
the tight end from the San Francisco 49ers, number 84. I wore number 84 through high school because of him. Growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, like you said, in the 80s, the 49ers were winning Super Bowls.
Exactly.
It was impossible not to be a fan, and I would go to games, and it was amazing. So when I went off to college, no coincidence, I played tight end and, wanted to pursue that, playing football in college. And, had I been good enough, I probably would have tried to play past college. But God had a different plan for me. And thank goodness he put sports marketing and sports business in front of me, because I never regret a single day of not playing more in college, not playing professionally, because I'm living my dream right now. I get to work in professional sports every day, and I've done it for almost 25 years now.
Well, it's curious. You mentioned you wanted to be a teacher, right? And going from being a teacher and to being named the best ticket sales executive in probably all sports in America, and you're doing that, right? Think about Orlando. Think about a Copa America. We have all the U.S. national teams playing here every year. You have now the FIFA tournament happening here over the summer, and that was here in our house, InterTV Stadium. So you're bringing a lot of awareness. You're building the city.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, to be a teacher? I want to just understand what happened. What was that spark?
What was that moment, right?
Yeah.
I think the moment was a combination of sitting down with my college athletic director and learning that you could work on the business side of sports. And then I sat down with another professor that was at the University of Oregon and learned about this whole side of the sports world that I didn't even know about. Again, remember, I did not go to school to pursue this industry.
Right.
I stumbled upon it. Thank goodness I was at University of Oregon. They happened to have a great sports marketing program. So I learned more about it. And I said, I'll never forget this. My father passed away several years ago, but he always told us as kids, if you find something you love to do, if you love your work every day, right? It's not really work. Everybody's heard some verbiage of that adage, right? And I remember hearing that. It was like, if you need to work for the next 40, 50, 60 years of your life, you should be so blessed as to do something you love every day, that you get up inspired to go to work, that you look forward to it, that you're not, dreading it.
Yep.
And I grew up in a very, lower middle class family with a single mother working 2 jobs, and she was working jobs that she didn't want to do, that she didn't love. And that was my work ethic example every day. And she ingrained in my brother and I, you're going to do something greater. You're going to do something. You're going to get to choose what you want to do, not what you have to do to put food on the table and survive, like she was doing for us. And, I was very lucky. This is a true story. I was interning for Merrill Lynch while I was playing football.
Wait a second.
I was double majoring in college.
Were you almost a banker?
They wanted me to take the Series 7 and do that and become a financial advisor.
Yep.
I was interning for 2 financial advisors in Eugene, Oregon. Great guys. And that's where I was learning to make sales calls.
Right.
I obviously couldn't sell because I wasn't licensed, but I was calling people to come to a lunch at a country club to listen to these advisors put on their presentations.
Right.
And that's where I really cut my teeth on talking to people on the phone and getting okay with, objections or failure. People telling you, no, get out of here, kid, scram. There's no, I remember one gentleman, he turned me down to come to the luncheon that we were putting on. And I said, sir, it's just a free lunch to come listen to about investing in the new millennium. This was when I was making those calls in 99. And he said, son, let me tell you something. There's no such thing as a free lunch in life. And you think back to those life lessons. I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but that's where you asked about transitioning into ticket sales. I was so comfortable being on the phone and talking to people. And, I figured if I had to do this, I could sell baseball, I could sell soccer, I could sell ice hockey.
Yep.
I love sports. And I was smart enough to talk to my professors. A lot of them gave me the advice of, hey, if you're open to sales, go look at professional ticket sales. Why? Number one, that's typically some of the lower, junior roles in sports.
Entry level.
Yeah, entry level. There's turnover because people maybe don't like it. They leave. It's not easy. It's hard. It's really hard. You're not making a lot of money. That first job I had out of college, I can say this for the record, I was working for a little independent minor league baseball team, not even in existence anymore. I was making $20,000 a year, 1% sales commission on anything I sold, which if you know anything about minor league baseball, the tickets are not very expensive. So 1% of sales is not a lot of commission, no health benefits, living at my mother's house in the garage on a couch that converted into a pull-out bed. That was my first year out of college.
That was in San Francisco.
That was back in the Sonoma wine country,
right.
Little town Hillsburg, where I grew up. It's about an hour north of San Francisco.
Have a good wine there.
Very good wine. Best in the world. But that I was living my dream, Kaio. I didn't care. I didn't care what I was living my dream. I was going into the office. Somebody was paying me to work in the front office of a baseball team.
Right.
And I loved it and I embraced it. And I did, the Giants were the next move. I was able to catch on with them, but I spent, the first 12 years of my career between that minor league baseball team, the San Francisco Giants, and then the San Diego Padres, I spent the first 12 years of my career in some level of ticketing. Eventually I worked my way up to management and then executive leadership, but still in ticketing every day.
Let's go back more for the money ball of the business, right? When you make decisions, do you like to think about your feeling, your gut, or the data behind that? Because soccer is very much about momentum, right? About your last win is your last shot, and if if you didn't win, you become losers, right? It doesn't matter how well you played the whole thing. But how do you make decisions on a daily basis? Do you rely on data or on your instinct?
I like to think it's a balance. Now, if you ask my team, who knows? They might tell you I sway one way or the other. I will tell you, I put a very high degree of trust and confidence into my executive team that I get to work with every day. And so if they come to me with a recommendation and it's well vetted out and it's grounded in data, and I'm typically going to listen to them and defer to their best judgment. I think we have a really nice blend here of, number one, always leading with data-driven decisions. And so that was one of our biggest undertakings when we got here. Kaio, you'll appreciate this being a marketer. Like we didn't have access to the data that we have today.
What type of data?
Oh, goodness.
People who come.
You had basic data, right? You had basic data around ticket buyers,
right?
But we didn't know a lot about them. We didn't know we didn't know if they were similar to.
Who are the people that come to the stadium? What are like when you think about you mentioned about tech and entrepreneurs and forward-thinking people, but when you look to the demographics right now, who is coming to the InterTV Stadium?
Yeah, so both teams have pretty young fans, as I mentioned, like a younger, diverse fan base, very tech forward. We do see some nuances between both the men and women's team. Women's team tends to be a little more female heavy, a little bit older. A little bit more families, where on the MLS side, definitely a little more young and diverse. So it's a nice blend so that a partner can reach two different demographics when they come in here. You asked the question about data, though. Why is that so important? Well, the more you know about your fans, the better you can serve them. And if the better you can serve them, the more likely they are to have a good experience, to leave InterTV Stadium happy, win, lose, or draw, right? To come back. And I think that's been part of our journey that we've been on. You know our CMO, Pedro, and our head of analytics, Chris Kampke, and their teams. We've worked really hard to take all these different data sets that we can have access to, food and beverage, ticketing data, demographic data about the person, What do they like to do, right? Their hobbies, psychographics, so to speak, and put all of that into one database to be able to help us understand at the right time what is the right message to market to them.
Right.
So I think that's been one of our best things that we've done, sales and marketing working together, that's helped us increase our ticket sales over the last few years. We started when I first got here, I think we were averaging somewhere in the mid 16,000s for Orlando City
Per game.
Yep. And we're now averaging closer to 21,000 per game, right? Last year I think we were 10th in paid attendance in the league.
Right.
On the women's side, we were closer to 3,000 when we got here, a little over that. We're now closer to 10,000 now. Fast forward a few years later.
That's a great job, yeah.
And the teams have done a great job, obviously, to help us. But what our sales and marketing team has been able to control is learning more about you as a fan, being able to serve you the proper messaging or call you about the proper offering. And then, as I described earlier, our sales team does a great job connecting one-on-one with you and getting you down to the stadium.
But it's still interesting to see that you have these new fans, right? New people who move to Orlando that become. Every time I'm here in Orlando and I see a kid wearing the jersey, I'm very proud. I'm like, this is great. This is what soccer is about. This is what sports about. It's unifying communities.
Yeah.
But how do you create fans?
Yeah,
because you are in a city where you are competing with the Magic.
Yeah.
You are competing with Mickey, now with Harry Potter, right? More than ever, with Epic. And you have to take people every Saturday or Sunday or Wednesdays to come visit the InterTV Stadium. That's a hard job.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest job in Orlando,
especially in a place like Orlando, right?
Yeah, that's my point.
It's sport. There's so much to do outside of sports.
Yeah. And then you also, on top of all that, you have also to deal with the whole Miami bus.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have a star there. Yeah. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a couple things for us, right? That we really focus in on. Number one was getting the guest experience right. So what is it like when you come to InterTV Stadium, from the parking lot to parking lot, kind of that whole experience?
So you're very involved into those decisions.
Yes, our guest experience program has gone through, has done a complete turnaround since we got here. We didn't really have one, to be fair. Like, we had everybody in the building, everybody working here on a game night, all of our partners, our own staff, everybody was different, was being trained differently. Customer service training was all over the place. We centralized that. We've worked with our partners to make sure everybody that's working in the stadium goes through a similar program. It goes through the same program. And why is that important? You come here with your family. We can't control what happens on the pitch, right? But we can, to some extent, control. Are you given a welcome when you come in? Hello, welcome in InterTV Stadium. How about when you go to get something to eat? Somebody helping you. What's that guest experience like? If you have a problem, you have a spill, you're lost, you need help. What is that experience like? And then when you leave, hopefully a fond farewell. Hey, thank you for coming. Get home safe. Come back and see us again. So that guest experience, we went from, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, that we were surveying somewhere in the mid 3s for 2 consecutive years now. We've been high 4s.
So that means that people are rating you guys after the game.
Yes.
On the highest 4.
Thousands of surveys. We survey our fans after every match. So we hear from people in real time. How's their experience? So that's number one. Guest experience. We've improved it dramatically.
So you're listening to the people who come to the stadium, and you are addressing whatever situations they face. Because at the end of the day, you are in the hospitality city, right?
Yeah.
If you don't offer a good experience, why they would return?
They're not going to. We are an option. This isn't life or death. This isn't, although it is for some fans.
Yeah, well,
like it, right?
Yeah.
But we're a discretionary spend for people, right? This isn't putting food on your family's table. This isn't putting gas in your car to get to work. All entertainment, not just sports, all entertainment, right? You have to have a very strong value proposition to ask somebody, hey, drive from wherever you live. Come here for 2 to 3 hours, spend your time, energy, money. Oh, by the way, we're in an outdoor venue in Florida, so it's not like you're in an air-conditioned building, right? You have to really put on a great show to get people to say, you know what, that was awesome, I want to come back. So I think the guest experience has been really important for us. The game experience, what's going on during the matches, is really critical. You guys at Inter have helped us tremendously. When we went through our naming rights changeover, we brought in a ton of new technology. state of the art in terms of the video boards and the scoreboard and the different fan technology that we have on the concourse. That levels up what your experience is like when you come here. 2-3 years ago, we did a full overhaul of food and beverage. I'm proud to tell you our Orlando-made food and beverage program, we have almost 30 local Orlando food and beverage partners in the building.
So you mean like local restaurants?
Founded here, or the chefs are from here, started their first
restaurant
favorite one
here, other than the tacos?
I'm not answering that. I can't pick any. I love them all.
Right.
But the point being, you said it earlier, we have a great food scene. People that are from Orlando, all of us that live here, are proud of where we're from. So what better way to show that off than when you go to the stadium, you see brands, you see companies that you see restaurants that you know and that you support. We call it the halo effect, right? Like every one of those restaurateurs, every one of those chefs have their own following. When we brought them into the stadium, they announced that they were going to be here. Come see us at InterTV Stadium. That brings more fans to us that maybe we didn't have before. So those are a couple of the things we've done over the last couple of years that I think have really helped us on those ticket sales numbers and be able to pack InterTV Stadium for as many events as we do a year. We had 750,000 people come through here last year for over 200 events. Not a lot of people realize that.
And that grew from the year before, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's an all-time record.
So let's say, when you look fast forward and you think about the future here, how do you see Orlando as the city of sports or soccer? I wouldn't say sports, but soccer maybe.
Yeah.
Even though the Magic does tremendous as well. They just did the playoffs. How do you see Orlando in 5 years? And where do you see your legacy in that place?
I'll tell you, our legacy as a club is going to be right up at the top because we deliver an incredible fan experience. We have an incredible ownership group. We have unbelievable fans. When you come in this stadium and you've been here before, it's rocking. You remember that experience. People want to come back.
Yep.
I think about Orlando a little differently. Again, I've been here long enough now to be involved with several groups, the Greater Orlando Sports Commission, Visit Orlando, Orlando Economic Partnership, our elected officials at Orange County, as well as the city of Orlando, our friends at the Magic you mentioned, our friends at Florida Citrus Sports. Everybody works so well together.
Yep.
That is the difference in Orlando. You know this. I don't know if all of your listeners and viewers know this. Last year, Orlando was ranked by the Sports Business Journal the #1 sports business city to have events in the United States.
Why?
Ahead of Vegas.
Why?
Ahead of Los Angeles. Ahead of all these places. Why? #1, it's that community. Everybody working together. If you come to all of us, those groups that I mentioned, and say, I have an idea for what's good for Orlando, everybody will meet there and be at the table with you.
Right.
75 million visitors to Orlando a year, right? New York is next at 45 million roughly.
Yep.
That's how many people are visiting Orlando a year. We have a huge youth sports market and sports tourism in general.
You're right.
Every single one of those people that come to Orlando for a sporting event, whether it's to watch their kids play soccer or to come to a game here or a Magic game, whatever it is, for every dollar, they're putting $34 back of economic impact back into our community. That's a stat that Visit Orlando has had studies done on. It's tremendous. So when you ask, why is Orlando and where do you see Orlando going? In 5 years from now, listen, it's going to be hard to hold the #1 title for 5 consecutive years, but we're always going to be a top 5 destination because we have community partners that work together. We have elected officials that work together for the greater good of Orlando. And if you're in a major event, FIFA Club World Cup, other events, we're going to go hard. I can tell you right now, this community is going to go hard after the Women's World Cup in 2031.
Yep.
If we can bring events here that show off and showcase our city and provide economic impact for our community members, we're going to be at the front of the table.
And what is your game plan for the next 5 years personally?
My game plan is to deliver the best soccer experience possible to our fans here at InterTV Stadium, and internally to deliver the best employee experience to our staff that we possibly can. There's no secret sauce. There's no silver bullet. It all starts with people. Kaio, you know that. I am blessed and fortunate to work with an amazing group of people that we have here. I would put our front office up against any in the country in terms of attitude and work ethic. And so if we can make sure our staff is treated well and they're happy, guess what? They're taking great care of our customers and they're coming back.
Well, that's Jarrod Dillon, everyone. Great executive in the industry right now, and responsible for making Orlando the greatest city for soccer right now in America. And thank you so much, Jarrod. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And very glad to see you.
Thank you, my friend.
Gameplan is brought to you by Inter. Nearly 40 million clients around the Americas. You want to know more? Download Inter right now. Stay tuned for more.